Okay, girls. So today we're going to learn the clock of eras. Okay? Do you remember when you went outside with Miss Jennifer and did the long timeline of life? And you remember they had colors?
Yeah,
So,
all these colors.
Exactly, because we're going to put all that timeline in a clock. Okay? And how many numbers do you see in a clock?
12.
12. And we have 12
1, 2, 3, 4,
here.
5, 12.
And we're going to base the eras like a clock. Okay? So we're going to start with our first, and this is an old one, that's why I put a line and you will see why. Because the more history and scientists discover, they get separated, okay? The eras get separated because they find information.
What about this big era? It does get separated?
No, this one. You will see. I love your enthusiastic. Okay, so let's do our first era. And imagine that the world started at midnight.
Oh.
Okay? And it's all black. It's all black. And that era is called
Is there light? Erazoic era.
Azoic era. You will soon-
Azoic
era. Okay? And in that era, the planet was formed, but it was starting to form the layers and the atmosphere, and everything was not in order. Okay? And it looked something like this. Volcanoes were erupting. The gas was poisonous in the atmospheres.
And there's a shooting star.
That's like an
That's
asteroid. Yes.
Asteroid.
And then the water was
Were there
acid.
aliens?
No, aliens go. That's another thing. Okay? We're talking about the beginning of the earth.
of the earth.
Okay? So the water was very poisonous. There was dissolving the soupy
Like
because
soup? Soupy
because
because
it's
soup?
hot and it was acid. Okay?
Was it even, was it like blue, that soupy? Like,
No, when it
was
means
like
of
soup.
soupy, it's hot and acid, okay? And the rocks, it was so acid that the rocks were dissolving.
like water.
Exactly, but very hot and
They were
very
dissolving.
acid. Exactly, the rocks were dissolving.
And was it bubbly?
Maybe because of the hot and everything and the
It might have
boiling.
been boiling.
Yes, this is just a representative. This is just to keep your imagination. Okay? And that era finished at 235. By 235, a million billion years have passed. Okay? And at 235, the Archeozoic era started. Archeo means ancient. Okay?
Ancient.
In this era, the layers, the crust started to form, and the water was trying to be stable, and there was a lot of chains of carbon.
And now it started to act like tomato soup.
No, it was just going to be more stable, the ocean, okay? Not so
More stable.
Stable means that it's not that acid.
More
and
like it is right now. A little bit.
a little bit. We're not there yet in this
It's
era.
not fresh.
It's
nice
not dissolving
water.
in and it's not that hot. Okay? And the element of carbon, they were starting to build up and making change. Something like this, but very microscopic, okay? And when it looked, that chain, it looked like something like our DNA. Okay? So that was happening. This era at 4 o'clock was done. And all of a sudden, those changes were reproducing, and poof, the first life. That's why it's yellow. Because the first life, organism of life,
First cell.
started in this era. This is called the Proterozoic era. Proterozoic means
Erzoic era.
okay, it means life. And in here, the first organism was formed. And that organism was very small. Our eyes cannot see it.
This small?
Nope, our it was a cell. And I'm going to tell you what was the name of the cell. It was called the prokaryotic cell.
Were those little ones
And
in
it
there?
seems and it looks like the prokaryotic cell looks like it was very simple. Very simple. It swam in the water. There was no land. It was swimming in the water and it fed. You remember the chains that were formed? Fed of carbon, okay? And with the carbon dioxide and the sunlight produce a very simple sugar, okay? And oxygen, okay? And that producing with sunlight and carbon dioxide, it produced what we call the photosynthesis, okay?
What's a photosynthesis?
The production of sunlight and carbon dioxide. And it produced sugar, that is photosynthesis, okay? And you will see later that we will study more about the photosynthesis, more about plants, okay? Then this cell was producing a lot of oxygen, but nature is so wonderful that it created another cell. And this cell is called the eukaryotic cell, and it looks something like this. But this one's a little bit more complicated cell.
It looks like
It was
an
more
inside
evolved.
of a worm, and then the
Yes,
and
it
then-
looks like a
or
worm.
it looks like a worm with a big bottom.
And that's awesome. That's awesome that you, and if you want, and later on, you can read more information. Then it says a lot of information, okay?
That's what it is.
And it says where the word comes from and the root, okay?
Mhm.
So we said the prokaryotic was producing oxygen, and the eukaryotic cell was feeding off that oxygen and producing dioxide, carbon.
Dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. And remember the first cell was eating carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
So this is the first relationship ever. One produces and one takes, and vice versa. So that's the first relationship that happened on Earth. Okay? So by the end of that, and then also another thing that we call the aerobic respiration was forming. Okay? By the end of this era, those bacteria started to evolve. And this era we said we started at 4 and it finished at 10:30. At 10:30,
In the morning
the
or night?
Paleozoic. If this was
Paleozoic.
midnight, that was morning. Paleozoic era. And look, it's blue. Why do you think it's blue?
Ocean.
The ocean. That's when the ocean started to stabilize.
Stabilize.
Exactly. Thank you for helping me. And
You're
it's blue because then this is the age of the reptiles, the fishes, the amphibians,
What about the
mammals.
dinosaur fish? Turtles? When did the
The
dinosaurs
dinosaur-
come in?
Wait,
I think they're
let's
gonna
not
come
get
in
ahead of
next.
each other. But every animal took shape over here in the oceans. Oh, and I forgot the Proterozoic era. That's where the rocks started to give us our story, because there was a lot of fossils. That's going to be our abundance of fossils.
Fossils.
And our rocks is the story for the human being, because then the scientists and everything, they looked all the story with rocks. So the rocks tell us stories, okay? But let's go back to the Paleozoic era. In the Paleozoic era is the ocean.
Mhm.
These mammals and amphibians are creating, they're evolving.
Mhm.
And this starts at 10:30, and by 10:50, the Paleozoic era finished. In the land, remember the Pangea, where all the
Mhm.
things are formed, or the land is formed, and that is called the Mesozoic era. Meso means middle, the middle life. And it's brown because of land.
Because
So
of the dirt.
Land started. First we were in the ocean, in land.
Land started to form.
Exactly. No, the land was formed.
And then this is where all the trees grow.
Oh, let's see. Wait, that's not getting ahead of each other. So these reptiles that were formed, mammals, started to crawl in the land and sea. And they liked it, so they stayed. And that is when our dinosaurs came to life.
Yay.
Okay?
Yay.
But by the end of this era, the dinosaurs got extinct. Okay?
How many years was that?
Those are, if I'm not, this is the reptile. Well, if this was 1 billion of years and this was 500 million, so this was like something less than 5 million years.
6 million? Oh,
Less.
no, less. Like
Less.
3 million. 4, 3.
Yes, it could be. So at 11, we were in 1130 to 1150, only 10 minutes, the Mesozoic era existed, okay? And at the end of this era, the dinosaurs were extinct, okay? So at 1150 to 12, only 10 minutes, the Cenozoic era started. Cenozoic.
Cenozoic. Why is
Zoic.
it green?
It's green because of the plants.
And the trees?
And the Cenozoic means recent life. So this era, the mammals and the birds started to evolve.
And the dinosaurs?
No, the dinosaurs were extinct.
Oh, yeah.
So the mammals, this is the era of the mammals and the birds. Because of the dinosaurs were extinct, the mammals and the birds started to evolve to cover up that niche that the dinosaurs left. Okay? Okay, so in those 10 minutes, and this is 65,000 years from here to here. Okay, and that's the Cenozoic era.
65,000 years ago? Not even
No,
in the
it
millions.
was in this time lapse of the clock, it was 65,000 years had occurred there, okay? And in the last 19 seconds of the clock, the Neozoic era started.
Is this when the people came?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when human beings started
This is
to
when
live.
we came.
Exactly. And that is only 2 million years. Wow.
How is this 2 million and this is 65,000?
That's a great question. Maybe I got mistaken. 2 million years.
It might be 2 million and 65,000.
Million and 60. Okay. You're right. No, but in the lapse. The lapse of years.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
It's not that. Okay. Now, as a follow-up work, I have these. You can label.
Fun.
You can
Fun.
label the eras. And you can talk about together what you learn and remember about it. There's also different labels here that goes with the colors, and they have more information if you don't remember.
And then this
Okay.
is when the road came.
And it tells you the years and the minutes that it took. You can also create your own clock of eras, either already
Can
done.
we color it and name
Exactly. And how are you going to color? You're going to follow the color because
And
the
then-
colors are meaning.
it? Can we put one fact about each?
Yes, you can. You can
Vera?
also create the clock of eras with these. And you can label them, okay? So I think, and these are some pictures. So it can create your imagination. You can start your imagination of what happened in each era, okay? Well,
Whoa.
thank you for listening. I appreciate it a lot. And I
You're
hope you have
welcome.
fun. I learned a lot too with you guys.